Hi everyone. So I decided to make this video to address a situation that happens more than you think. It actually is quite common. So what happens is that sometimes when you remove acrylics or gel or extensions, whatever, or when the nails are very damaged and you care for the nails, so you're doing everything that I'm telling you to do and your nails are not getting better and they're getting worse. I made a more of an in-depth video about damage and how to address it and what causes it when it comes to extensions, and I will link that video in the description box and I will attach it to the end of the video as well. Okay, so very quickly I'm going to tell you right away that healing when it comes to nails does not always look linear. So sometimes things look worse before they get better. And by the way, in case you don't know me, I've been a nail technician for almost 30 years now, and yes, I started when I was 10 years old, and my specialty for many years was gel, acrylic, fiberglass. I did everything, gel polish. Now mostly I specialize in pedicures and natural nail manicures, and I teach people how to take care of their nails because, believe it or not, the gentle care is actually more effective than when it comes to the health of the nails than whatever you get in a salon. That was a very sad realization when I realized that. But anyway, so here I am to help you. I'm going to show you examples of two people because these two ladies just emailed me over the weekend, both with the same problem, and I've been meaning to talk about it, and so today is the day. And also this is very common, so this is important thing to address. All right, so she says, I got extensions, but I noticed irritation, redness, and itching every time after the procedure, probably an allergy to the top coat. Yes, I decided to take them off and expected fragile and damaged nails. I bought RPI repair mode and continued applying it every day and moisturizing with sunflower oil or nail wax, and also using Isdin pen during the day. At first it was okay, but 2 weeks later, after removing the extensions, I started to notice that every time I cut my nails, they were getting whiter and whiter at the tips. They were coming off, and so it goes. I realized that I need to cut this part that's coming off, I guess, but the more I cut them, the whiter and more they were coming off, whatever. And there are still some dark spots, as you can see on my pinky finger and index finger. I stopped using RPI and I'm only using Isdin and moisturizer, but it still looks like this. I don't know what to do anymore. My nails have always been short, but now they are very small and increasingly without bed. Please help me. What can I do? I don't know if that makes any difference, but I'm 40 years old. So I asked her for a little bit more details, and she says, I had my nails done October 2024. Okay. I took them off, the extensions, not the nails, obviously, February 11th. Okay. So a month ago, no? I did monthly maintenance. During the second maintenance, I felt redness around the edges and itching. Guys, this is so common right now. Like, it's not even funny. They stopped using the top coat and they were only using the sealant, which is a top coat, but anyway, usually, which improved. But even so, in January, I noticed that some of my nails were still getting irritated around them, so I decided to take them off. I'm gonna tell you one thing. Once you get some allergic reaction, some reaction to these products, it is very difficult to pinpoint because it's not that you're allergic to a brand. You are probably getting allergic, overexposed, really. So it does not actually just happen out of the blue. It happens because you have been overexposed to one of the ingredients. So without really knowing the chemistry behind the products and how they're done and everything else, it's really difficult to pinpoint. So, and then once you're allergic to one, your body recognizes this thing very quickly and you become more and more allergic to more and more ingredients. Bad situation. I will send you a photo when I had them done in October and another photo from January, after I did the last maintenance, and I noticed that some of the gel was missing from some of my nails, so I went back to fix them. In a photo, you can see a little bit of redness. I had ointment on because it was already irritating me. But the next day, it got much worse, very swollen and itchy underneath. Exactly. But I don't have a photo from the next day. Guys, allergic reaction, right? By the way, so these two examples are actually not caused by the same thing. So this is really interesting. Keep watching. I ended up keeping the nail on that month and only taking it off February. As I told you before, in the first 2 weeks after I had removed them, my nails didn't look so bad. Maybe because I was only filing them and not cutting them. Could be. Sometimes when people are cutting the nails, or mind you, I often recommend it, but sometimes people are being a little bit too rough. And when it comes to cutting out onycholysis, it's not possible to do it with a file. But either way, you have to be very gentle and make little snips instead of like just cutting all across. But anyway, I noticed that the whites got bigger when I started cutting them. The more I cut them, the more whites got inside the nail and they were lifting. I don't know. As I said in the other email, I stopped cutting them and I stopped using OPI. You know, I've heard, my goodness, I don't want to talk bad about the OPI repair mode. I don't know, but I've heard some people having issues with it. So like in these cases, and this is why, like when the product first came out, everyone's like, oh my God, what do you think about it? I'm like, I don't know. I need to hear more about it and I need to hear more experiences. And some people had issues with the OPI. So now for sure she experienced allergic reaction to the products or ingredients that they were using. But who knows if maybe the OPI, I don't know, made it worse. Anyway, I continue using Isden because the OPI is not supposed to make a skin contact. If the nails are very thin, it could technically, or yeah. I continue using as Isden and applying a sunflower oil Nutri. Sunflower, by the way, is very good for skin barrier. It's a very nice oil, very light too. So I asked her if I can use the picture. She's like, of course you can. I imagine that other people must have the same or similar problem after removing their extensions. So now this is why I kind of kept it, because this is not because removing extensions. This is because you have allergic reaction to the gel. So I'm going to show you pictures, okay? All right, so I can see clearly that there is a nice and healthy growth. New nail here is growing and this part is quite damaged. You can see the separation here as well. Okay, this is why I'm such a pain in behind when it comes to asking you for good quality photos, because if I don't have very specific photos, I can't really tell you what's going on. So the photos need to be taken on white background because I can color correct and in the same positions, because this way I can actually look at the nails here and here and tell the difference. Because if someone sends me a picture like this and then like this and then like this, oh my God, when someone sends me pictures like this and then okay, you see this nail, I have to go into the photos, whatever program, and I have to angle them so they look like, honestly guys, please, the same exact photos, maybe open the photo on the computer and then when you're taking a picture, so it's the same pose, okay? Because this is really helpful. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing, and this is quite common. When it comes to onycholysis and wearing some kind of extensions, what happens is that the moisture builds up underneath and I can see something going on, brewing here, right? So there is already a separation. It's very often, it's not visible because the nail has a lot of moisture in it. Nail can actually absorb a lot of moisture. So when the nails dry out, and this has actually happened as well, I'm not sure if you remember, I had a client, a friend of mine who has eczema and she has this onycholysis on one of her fingers. And when I applied polish on her nails, just one coat, we wanted to see how things are going. The couple of days later, she's like, oh, the nails are getting better because look, it's growing out. No, it wasn't. It actually was getting more clear because of the moisture was building up under the nail. So when you take the product off and the nails kind of are looking decent, in a few days you're gonna get this because the moisture evaporates and the nails are becoming white. Also, what happened, probably, obviously, because she had allergic reaction. So there was, what happens? The nail cannot have allergic reaction because the nail is dead. So what's reacting is the skin underneath. Somehow, some of the ingredients penetrated the nail and hit the nail bed. So the nail bed is trying to heal itself. So normally what it does, because the nail plate is soaked with very irritating ingredients, the body is trying to basically separate itself. And the skin underneath the nail builds up, so it becomes thicker and the nail separates. So this is part of the healing. Okay, so imagine this. I said earlier that the healing does not look linear, okay? Imagine this. You are walking somewhere and you brush your arm against a wall that has a texture. and you're like, ouch, this kind of was painful, but you look and nothing really happened, right? In a few hours, you have a little bit of redness, but nothing really happens. The next day, you're looking and you're like, wow, you're getting a scab, and then the scab gets harder. So normally, because we know how the skin heals, we don't kind of freak out too much. You're like, oh my God, it's getting worse. Like, I don't know what's happening to me. No, because you know that this is a normal way of how the skin heals. And in a similar way, the body heals when it comes to the nails as well. Now, nail plate cannot heal because it's dead, but the skin underneath and the skin around can heal, and this is the way it heals. Sometimes that it separates the nail, and then once the healthy nail grows out, the nail now is healthy and is able to attach to the skin. But this just has to grow out, unfortunately. So this is not really getting worse. You're not doing anything wrong. It's just this is a very normal, very often very normal response to an allergic reaction. So the black, who knows? It's difficult for me to kind of diagnose. You see, when I blow up, I can't really see, because this picture actually was not a high resolution, so I can't really see. Sometimes this could be a trauma, because now this nail is quite thin, so when you hit the nail, you might have a little bit of almost like bleeding. The little blood vessels maybe are breaking. But these are also quite common when it comes to allergic reaction. Possibly, yes, the little blood vessels are hurt and they're bleeding. So sometimes you will see like these lines, because underneath the blood vessels are kind of positioned in this way. So you sometimes might see like lines running through the nail. Unfortunately, that's very common as well. And as you can see here, like now this part is quite healthy, and this just has to grow out. So I wouldn't be trimming these nails like forcefully, but I would keep them clean. I would keep them short, and by shortening the nails once a week. Sometimes clipping is okay if you are able to do that without further trauma, right? Just do it gently. Okay, I'm gonna show you another picture. So again, to me, very common. This is what's happening. And it's quite common, and you just have to let this grow out. So it takes up to 5 to 6 months for the nail to regrow completely. So it looks like a month and a half or something of like a healthy growth. Okay, so probably another 3 months or something, and your nails are going to look much, much better. The good thing is, good news and bad news. The good news is that when the nail is traumatized, when it's harmed, it actually grows usually a little bit faster. So what I would do, I would just keep shortening the nails so you don't have further trauma, so you're not like pulling the nails up. And I would definitely use the sunflower oil, something very gentle. And the Isden pen should be fine. And that's about it. You just have to let the nails grow out, and the skin underneath has to heal, and that's it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the second issue. I hope this is not too long. I hope this is interesting to you. So what I have NS Nail Advice online, where you send me pictures and I give you a video with explanation of what's going on, kind of like this one, but and with advice what to do. So this person had purchased my assessment in February, and she said, I thought everything was moving along very nicely, and I was thrilled to be caring more gently for my nails and skin. But I started to notice some nail plate separation from the nail bed a few weeks ago. At first, it was very minor and I thought nothing of it, but it has gotten worse and worse. So I decided to watch all of your videos on your channel about onycholysis. I believe you have 3, I think so. And I decided to gently cut out the separated parts, but within a few days, they were back to separating even further down the nail bed towards my PNF, the proximal nail fold. So skin fold, right? For context, before this, I had been following your suggestions quite precisely. No more buffing, no more nail polish. Of course, no cutting the PNF. Okay, so I told her no nail polish. Basically, it's not that you can't. I just said to her that if you're trying to let the nails grow out, if you want to wear nail polish, you can, but don't think it's actually going to benefit the nails, because it won't. It probably would be better not to, but it's not like you cannot wear it either. I put jojoba oil next to each sink in my house. I was finding it easy to put a drop of oil after each time my hands got wet. Okay, so it's not necessarily wet. What matters is when you wash your hands with detergents, because just getting, you know, sitting in the rain or something is not going to remove the oil that you've applied. It's just using the detergent. Anyway, weekly warm jojoba soaks, very good. Using gloves for dishes, keeping the nails short, only use Blue Cross every other week with 1 minute timer, using lots of water to get it off, yes, because you have to rinse it off. I use Salon, so the foot ointment cream, thick cream, for about 2 weeks right after the assessment, and then the skin became soft enough to very gently nudge that every other day without using the carousel overnight. You can still use it because, you know, it's maintenance, right? Or you can just use it every second day or whatever. I also use the creamy carousel foot ointment on my feet a few times and maybe didn't wash my hands after. This is fine. I'm trying to consider every possibility for what happened. I mean, that cream is good, but guys, it has 10% urea, which is on the lower end, really. Has 5% salicylic. Okay, that's a little higher, but it's not going to like burn off your skin or anything. All right, so I'm attaching photos here from the ones in February, so you can see there was no endocrisis at all then, but now it's happening on multiple fingers. There was one thing that I noticed right away. In 1 second, I'll explain. And it's even a little tender on my pinky fingers where I tried to trim several days ago. You see not only it's growing out, but seems to be worsening and continuing to separate. So as you can see, the poor person, like she's doing everything correct, following everything, and her nails are getting worse, right? So of course she's worried. Have you seen this before? Do you have any ideas what should I do, or should I stop doing? Could I be reacting to the jojoba? No. And she nailed it here. Could it be that my nails were so thin in certain sections from over buffing that as those sections grew out towards the tip, they separated? Yes, exactly. All right, so let's look at her pictures. Okay, I have to move myself so I can show you what's happening. Okay, so I'm just editing this video and I really have no clue what's going on with this picture. This picture somehow just appears much brighter. Okay, so what I'm referring is these cloudy areas, if you can see it. All right, so let's just zoom in to this photo and look at this and this. And you know what, I didn't mention it, and probably I should, but this is something that happens very often and I kind of don't sometimes want to freak people out. But from now on, I'm going to mention it. So when you see this white kind of hazy thing from overfiling, this is the area where it sometimes can separate. And I've seen it a lot. I've seen it too much. And this is probably one of the reasons why I don't do gel anymore. Because what happens is sometimes, or what used to happen, is that people would just, you know, break something a little bit and then they would just, you know, pull it off. Basically, they're like, oh, I kind of like, yeah, and you know, so this is what they would end up with. They would end up with this kind of weird hazy looking thing, and sometimes the nail would separate a little bit. So, and I really didn't like seeing it. So this is what's happening here. The nail has separated, but you know what? You can see, can you see the pink here? So this might still separate, and you can see the line here. So the nail is growing out really nicely. This is a nice milky kind of shade, suggesting that the nail is nice and thick. You know, then I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, this is brilliant. So nails are almost like ice. The thicker the ice, the more white and opaque it looks. But in the thin areas, it's going to be more see-through and you're going to see the water underneath, right? So this is what happens with the nail. When it's thicker, it's more milky, it's more opaque. And then once you see the redness is actually, you're seeing the nail bed underneath. So yes, this has separated. And you see these black little spots here, same thing. This is usually, yeah, like a little bruises or like little blood vessels being broken. So you see the redness here. So obviously she is not buffing anymore. It's just that sometimes, depending on the pictures, I didn't see it as much, but here the photo is, the angle maybe it's a little bit better, or now you see it more because it has grown out a little bit. But yes, you can see the redness and you can see the separation. So you see it's not really separating in this area because it's stronger, but it's separating here. So I would not be cutting it really necessarily that much shorter. Keeping it as is fine. Always leave like 0.5 millimeter length on the nails and keep it consistent every week. That's just my advice. I'm gonna show you more pictures. Okay, sadly the angle here is not the best, but I can still see it. You can see that there is separation here. And you know, interesting parts, these two nails are always the thinnest. The thumbs are the strongest, the thickest nails. They have more layers. And usually the nails that suffer the most, I mean, there are obviously exceptions, but usually the nails that suffer the most are these two, possibly because they're thinner. And as you can see, these ones are separating. But you know what? This is not a bad onycholysis at all. So what I would do is I would just file this smooth, just so you don't have that little catch, because that will catch on things. And yes, they look, you might think, kind of bad, but that is normal and that's going to grow out. Other than that, as you can see, nice growth. Right here, you can see like the more of a milky look. So what happens is when you have nails that are this overfiled, this is the improvement is going to be gradual, because the damage is gradual. So as you can see here, there was most damage because you can see the redness, the nail bed through it really, and then it's getting better here, and again it's getting really much better here. So it's going to take a little bit of time for this damage to grow out. So don't give up, just keep doing what you're doing. And it takes months, unfortunately, for this damage to grow out. So this was way longer than I expected, than I was hoping for. So I hope this was still interesting and helpful. If you have this problem, don't give up. Just keep doing what you're doing. Be gentle. Don't use any hardeners. Don't do anything drastic. Don't put more gel on damaged nails, because through this, the ingredients might penetrate too much and really separate the nail even further. And then you're going to have a bigger problem. Anyway, so the next video is going to be about damage. Hopefully you have enough time to watch it. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Bye.